It's the week of Doom the Dark Ages, so understandably so, it's a smaller week as indie developers get out of the way, but we still have some interesting pixel art games, all action titles, a huge simulator and much more, beginning with the Wicked Wishes update for Shovel Knight Dig, being the final update to the spin-off of the indie classic, and will get PlayStation and Xbox versions as well. You will be able to access Hoofman's Guild Hall, a secret hideout where elite adventurers gather to undertake challenging quests, having their own ranking to progress up with new relics, buffs and rewards, along with new bosses and enemies, where this has certainly been an interesting experiment, and I wonder if we will see more spin-offs like this. Publisher Hooded Horse exclusively specializes in deep strategy titles and have really gotten this marketing thing down pat, since their games are consistently in the top of the most wishlisted and best-selling charts, which makes Blacksmith Master of interest, where you step into the role of a medieval blacksmith, managing every aspect of your forge, from mining ores and gems to crafting and selling finished products. Hire and train staff to optimize your operations, which is on top of upgrading and expanding your shop. And as your reputation grows, you'll unlock new crafting recipes, allowing you to produce a wider range of items. This also has a dynamic market system where you can fulfill orders from various clients across the kingdom and will be for fans of the genre. This video is brought to you by Ship Inc., a cozy job simulator where you play as a packaging employee at a cargo shipment company. You need to pack items in accordance to the order, selecting the items, choosing the appropriate package size, and preparing these for delivery, taping it up and sticking on the label before placing it onto the conveyor, with successfully completed orders generating money, which you can use to purchase a variety of upgrades to make you even better at your job. Looking very cozy due to the art, so if interested, try the free demo on Steam and wishlist the game. The developer of Kulebra and the Souls of Limbo reached out and reminded me that I covered this game back in 2022, and it's an adventure game which mixes 2D characters with a 3D environment. You play as Kulebra, a deceased snake who awakens in Limbo, but a vibrant Latin American inspired version of the afterlife here, where the residents of Limbo are trapped in a time loop, repeating the same day due to unresolved regrets. Your mission is to help these souls find peace by solving puzzles, gathering clues, and uncovering the mysteries that bind them. It has a day-night cycle that influences character behaviors and events, requiring you to interact with various inhabitants, each with unique stories and schedules. Utilize your wits, stealth, and detective skills to navigate this richly detailed world filled with humor, intrigue, and heartfelt moments. A notebook system assists in tracking important information, ensuring that you can piece together the narrative threads, with it, of course, having a visual resemblance to Paper Mario, but it's a straightforward adventure game without combat, but I do really like the visual style. An impressive looking first-person title is Cubic Odyssey, a voxel-based open-world adventure where you crash land on a distant planet and must rebuild, explore, and survive across a galaxy teeming with life and mystery. Your journey begins with salvaging resources to craft tools, vehicles, and starships, enabling you to traverse the vast expanse of space and uncover ancient secrets. The universe is dynamic, featuring day-night cycles, bustling NPC cities, pirate outposts, and perilous ruins waiting to be discovered. A looming threat known as the Red Darkness spreads across planets, mutating wildlife and consuming ecosystems, so you need to find a way to combat its influence through strategic planning and cooperation. Engage in diverse quests, trade with NPCs, and battle rogue pirates as you shape your odyssey. It is very Minecraft-like, emphasizing creativity, allowing you to build everything from your own base to mega structures, and supports co-op with other players to tackle colossal threats. This developer, Atypical Games, is best known for their work on mobile flight simulator titles, so it's a very ambitious swing, which is different from their previous offerings, so I'll be interested to see how this does. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. Important news! Nubs Arena will be free to claim and keep for the first 24 hours after its launch on 15 May 2025, so wishlist the game and set an alarm or something if you don't want to miss out. This is a fast-paced, top-down multiplayer brawler with roguelite elements, where you control a quirky creature known as a Nub, engaging in chaotic battles across trap-filled arenas. Quick reflexes and use of absurd weapons like fish, squeaky pigs, and cans of beans will be critical to your success, where each match is made up of 5 frantic rounds, with players selecting passive abilities after each round to enhance their combat prowess, adding to the game's unpredictability and looks like a similar system to rounds. The arenas are dynamic, featuring hazards such as spikes and lava, where if you are eliminated, you do get a second chance as you are turned into a floating star, where surviving long enough in this form allows you to be revived. Developer Rangatang is made up of ex-Ronimo Games people who are best known for Awesome Knots, but it seems like they were unable to make a big enough hit to sustain the team, which led to the studio being shut down, but these developers bought back the Nubs Arena IP and have skin in the game, so for their sake, I hope this does well for them. Other games begins with Barrage, a digital adaptation of a tabletop board game resulting in a turn-based strategy title where you manage engineers to build dams, harness water power, and compete for energy dominance. Each turn, you assign engineers to actions like acquiring machinery, constructing infrastructure, and producing energy. Action spaces are limited and shared, so timing is crucial to outmaneuver your opponents. You can choose from different corporations to play as, each being unique and have different rewards, where every CEO has a special passive power which can be unlocked as well. These are paired with executive orders which heavily impact rules, resulting in different playstyles and viable strategies. Objectives, energy contracts, and technologies are randomized in every playthrough, which adds replayability, so you need to adapt your strategy to the given situation, with this having an 8.1 rating on Board Game Geek and is the 37th best board game overall. So assuming that the digital edition is bug-free and works, will be a good addition. Yes, Broventure The Wild Co-op is yet another Vampire Survivor style action roguelite, but of course with a co-op focus, where you and up to 3 friends can team up to battle hordes of enemies, gather resources, and build a thriving camp. In addition to bullet heaven combat, there is a base building element, offering a dynamic and strategic experience. As you progress, you unlock new characters, each with unique abilities, and can construct facilities like libraries and armories to enhance your capabilities, where I do love town or camp building in games, which makes this of note. The art style also looks interesting, but can get overwhelming when there are too many enemies and attack effects on screen, but I suppose that is the point, and funnily enough, there is no mention of story or plot on the Steam page other than transform your camp into a sanctuary of liberation, but fans of the genre will know exactly what to expect. Cats and Dice comes to us from Singaporean developer Yong Just Yong, so here's a special shoutout for this roguelite dice builder title that is, of course, very Balatro-like in nature. However, instead of poker cards, you are rolling dice and using lucky cats to overcome an ever-increasing target score each round. Each cat possesses unique passive abilities and generates a specific die at the start of the round, and you can also equip various items to your cats, enhancing or altering their abilities and the effects of their dice. It will have over 90 cats and 150 items, providing a wide array of possible combinations and replayability, with there also having a boon-bane system requiring you to weigh the pros and cons of each option and has been compared to a boss fight. There are also mentions of bonuses in the form of unique dice combinations to boost your score, as well as tickets which permanently aid your run, being a fresh enough twist on the idea. A very interesting looking title is Chambers, a self-styled first-person comedic RPG shooter set in the weird Wild West with a revolver punk theme. This combines classic FPS mechanics with unconventional elements like catching bullets mid-air and using them against your enemies, along with first-person rolling, which might just make you throw up, kicking enemies, a hookshot hat, which I'm guessing means that you can throw your hat, cannibalism, so things get dark, and the ability to drink booze and puke, so yes, a very weird entry for sure. It will have open sandbox-like levels, which I'm guessing means self-contained mini open areas where you will have options when it comes to tackling enemies instead of being essentially linear corridors. There are also trading and cooking systems, as well as an equipment system where clothing and gear are upgradable, which are the RPG elements. Of course, we have to talk about the art style, which is a throwback, and honestly, looks like it might blow up in that Cruelty Squad kind of way, so we'll see, with developer Mr. Pink having made Golden Light as well, which is another insane looking title kind of like this, which is pretty popular, and is the hidden gem of the week. A fun-looking action roguelite is Gunbot Diplomacy, set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where you control a customizable gunbot and use it to fend off relentless waves of enemies. There are over 20 base weapons with 25 plus types of augments and boosters, along with a unique hexagonal upgrade grid which allows players to mix and match, resulting in a weapon created for your preferred playstyle. There are also more than 80 build-defining modules, along with 10 base gunbots to choose from, each with unique characteristics, including the Gallant Lens Bot and the Freezer, which is an armed refrigerator, meaning that each run offers a distinct experience, emphasizing replayability. The post-apocalypse setting translates to enemy variety as well, from oozified office workers and crab cactus hybrids, and looks like a good entry in this space. A fantastic looking entry is House of Legacy, in part since the hand-painted visuals look wonderful, resembling classic Chinese paintings, but even more than the look, this is a sandbox strategy game which immerses you in ancient China's political and familial dynamic. You play as a clan leader seeking refuge after rebel forces breach the city walls, aiming to rebuild your family's legacy from the ground up. It has an extensive base building system with over 200 modular pieces, allowing you to design estates, farms, and cities. Each playthrough generates approximately 30 unique noble families, fostering dynamic relationships, alliances, and rivalries between them, creating an intricate web which you need to navigate if you want to succeed. You can guide your descendants through the imperial exams, govern territories, and engage in military campaigns. Choices include supporting the ruling dynasty, leading military forces against it, or employing diplomacy to quell rebellions, looking very ambitious and deeply strategic. Into the Restless Ruins is a roguelike deck builder that draws upon Scottish folklore, where you take on the role of a wanderer seeking the Harvest Maiden, who promises to fulfill your deepest desire in exchange for Gilmore, a mystical essence harvested from cursed spirits. Each night, you use cards representing rooms and corridors to build the dungeon that you will explore, strategically placing elements like campfires, libraries, and portals to aid your journey. But with the main twist being that it has an auto-battle system where your character automatically attacks enemies, allowing you to focus on creating the dungeon layout. As you progress, you earn favors from the Maiden to acquire new cards or to trade relics with NPCs to upgrade your deck, with the closest comparison that I can think of being Guild of Dungeoneering, where I'm surprised to see that it took this long for someone to make a game like that. And perhaps most interestingly of all, this has a Scottish Gaelic audio option which is very unique if switched on. This week also sees the Switch ports of Mostroscopy following a PS4 launch last week and Xbox and Steam versions before that, being a retro-inspired fighting game with an interesting look. This blends 1950s Mexican horror cinema and lucha libre aesthetics, having both monstrous characters as well as masked luchadors as playable characters. It has various gameplay modes including arcade, versus, challenge, and training, along with a simplified yet complex command system where you only have normal attack, special attack, and guard, but these can be used to create powerful combos and is visually distinct. A title that has nailed the exact visual style that they are going for is Neon Hearts City, a retro point-and-click adventure game that thrusts you into a grungy cyberpunk city of the future. As private investigator Elijah Crow, you are on the trail of a missing girl named Audrey, but this isn't just a simple missing persons case. The city hides a conspiracy involving zealots, androids longing to become human, and a mysterious tower that could unravel civilization itself. Your investigation takes you through neon-lit backstreets, a colossal airship prison, and into the depths of a society on the brink with throwback pixel art reminiscent of titles from the 90s, along with classic point-and-click puzzles and a rich narrative steeped in noir and cyberpunk themes. A completely free roguelite platformer of note is Rogue Worlds, where you navigate ever-changing levels using a variety of creative abilities to overcome challenges. The game emphasizes improvisation, allowing you to blast, dash, grapple, fight, and charm your way through diverse biomes, each presenting unique dangers and opportunities. As you progress, you unlock starting gear, character perks, pets, and more, enhancing your capabilities. The game also features a permanent progression system, ensuring that each run contributes to your overall advancement. If you thought that this looked familiar, that is because this comes to us from developer Cognitive Forge, whose other game, Aura of Worlds, pretty much looks the same visually, with the same creativity-focused gameplay, where Rogue Worlds is supposed to be a free introduction to that other game, with progress in this carrying over. So it's an interesting business model, and I'm curious as to whether or not this will work. If you're into horror games, the Deadseat should be of interest, in which your character pulls out a handheld game in the backseat during a long drive home. As your parents begin fighting, your handheld game is your only source of entertainment, but the game begins to mirror real life. Items collected in the game appears in the backseat, which you then have to use to defend yourself against a deadly monstrosity that's trying to make its way into the backseat with you, and is a short, low-priced title that looks intriguing. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox. On paper, The Precinct is one of the most wishlisted games on Steam, being in the top 50 in terms of rankings, and has previewed extremely well with its demo, and is a sandbox simulation action game set in the crime-ridden streets of Averno City in 1983. You assume the role of rookie officer Nick Cordell Jr., tasked with restoring order and uncovering the truth behind your father's mysterious death while in service. The game offers a dynamic open-world experience, blending police simulation with action-packed gameplay. You'll patrol the city on foot, in squad cars, and even helicopters, responding to a variety of procedurally generated crimes ranging from minor infractions to major heists. To add to the immersion, there's a day-night cycle and dynamic weather altering character behavior. Engage in high-speed pursuits as you attempt to stop street racing or to bust up drug deals, and you don't have to go it alone with an in-depth support system for you to call for backup. Your police allies can set up roadblocks, spike strips, and more, with destructible environments adding to the chaos as you confront Averno's criminal underworld. The game's narrative and setting pays tribute to classic cop movies and essentially feels like the inverse of GTA, and needless to say, cops and robbers in video game form still has a huge audience. A spooky looking title which might not be for everyone is Labyrinth of the Demon King, depending on your tolerance for the intentionally limited 4x3 resolution as well as throwback graphics style. This is a first-person dungeon crawler set in a mythical version of feudal Japan, where you, a lone infantryman, seek vengeance against the Demon King who killed your lord. The world is inspired by Japanese folklore, but with a very grim slant to the look, reminiscent of early PlayStation titles, while still having distinct enough features like the demon masks and other creatures and yokai. Combat is deliberate and challenging, requiring careful management of stamina and strategic use of weapons like katanas, naginatas, and muskets, looking to be King's Field-like in nature, but going even more in the horror direction. As you navigate the labyrinth, in addition to combat, you have to solve puzzles and make choices about whom to trust, all of which can influence your fate, looking pretty unique and has potential. All the other way on the other end of the vibes spectrum is Animal Spa, a cozy bottom-of-screen idle management title with an absolutely adorable look. You manage a bathhouse frequented by various animal guests, having to construct various baths with different temperatures and rest areas to help your customers relax. It's very tycoon game-like in nature, where you can customize your bathhouse with nostalgic tiled interiors, or even to create open-air baths and add features like bubble machines and herbal bags to enhance the experience. You also need to manage staff, hiring and training employees to maintain the bathhouse with an array of animal visitors, including cats, dogs, rabbits, and hamsters, each with unique preferences, which is where the variety and challenge comes in. The sharp-eyed among you might have caught a glimpse of a certain platypus character, since yes, this does indeed come to us from the developer of Ogu and the Secret Forest, retaining their signature adorable character designs and might be huge. At least 3 of you made it a point to remind me about the upcoming 1.0 release of The Slawmancer, whether it be through YouTube comments or even dropping me an email, so thanks for the reminder, and here it is for the benefit of the rest of you. This is a pixel art action RPG that has Diablo vibes with the classic dark fantasy setting, which blends fast-paced combat with deep customization. There are 3 unique classes, essentially warrior, archer, and mage, each offering distinct playstyles and abilities, with plenty of build variety and customization within these classes as well. It's a loot treadmill kind of game, where you are delving into the dungeon to battle hordes of enemies, then collecting and upgrading a vast array of weapons and gear, allowing you to tailor your character to your preferred combat style. As you progress, you'll unlock powerful skills with a mini version of Path of Exile's skill tree in this game. This has been in early access since April 2021, so it has been a very long time coming, gaining a respectable 4,200 Steam reviews since then, which I'm estimating is at least 200,000 copies sold, with the 1.0 release of course adding a final epic boss fight, a new endgame mode called the Netherworld with plenty of content, an increased level cap to 100 and much more, where the developers says that the 1.0 release is not the end of their journey, with plans to add and expand the game. So if you have not bought this, it will be 25% off this week, which is its largest discount ever. After a little bit of a delay, we have the release of one of the sleekest looking action roguelites in Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade, set in a fantasy version of Edo period Japan. There are 3 distinct heroes in the human ninja, an oni, and a tiger archer, each with unique combat styles and storylines, with all the bells and whistles expected of a roguelite and an absolutely killer visual presentation. So maybe it might join this list of the best action roguelites.
まだ諦める時ではありません。